My Safety Training Online presents Forklift Safety 2012. What will you learn? Well, we'll introduce you to forklift terms. We'll do the work-safe practices when using a forklift. Introduce you to OSHA standards for regulating forklifts. When operator training is required, we'll discuss that, along with various types of forklift that can be used, and unsafe acts and conditions and how to handle them. Part 1, Introduction to Forklift Safety. Well, gentlefolk, whether you want to call them jitneys, forklifts, lift trucks, powered industrial trucks, they are as widely used as your debit card. It seems they're everywhere you look these days. Lift trucks that are unloading trailers at department stores, tiering product at warehouse, or loading up material at a construction site. Powered industrial trucks are also moving lumber in a sawmill and dropping stock in a grocery store aisle. With well over 1 million trucks in operation today, the emphasis must be placed on both the worker and pedestrian safety. This program will help you understand OSHA safety and health regulations governing these pieces of equipment, in addition to providing you with assistance in developing a training program for your lift truck operators, as well as other affected employees. What are the objectives of this program? Well, my fellow Americans, here they are. Review the OSHA Subpart N29 1910.178 for powered industrial trucks, and we'll discuss the fundamental safe work practices for the operation of powered industrial trucks. The definition of a forklift is a powered industrial truck with a mobile, power-driven vehicle used to carry, push, pull, lift, stack, or tier material. Vehicles not covered by the powered industrial standard are compressed air or non-flammable compressed gas operators, industrial trucks, farm vehicles, vehicles intended primarily for earth moving or over-the-road hauling. Part 2, OSHA forklift requirements. Design and construction of powered industrial trucks must be done in compliance with ANSI, American National Standard Institute, B56.1. B56.1, 1993, is a safety standard for low-lift, high-lift trucks, is in its latest revision. All nameplates and markings must be in place and be readable under the standard. All modifications and additions which affect the safe operation and capacity must be approved by the manufacturer. Data labels must be changed accordingly, and this approval must be in writing from the manufacturer. If using frontless attachments other than the manufacturer's, the truck must be marked identifying the attachment. Listing the approximate combined weight of the truck and attachment at the maximum elevation with a center load. Most vertical mass forklifts are equipped with FOPS, falling object protective structures. A load backrest, or LBR, must be provided when handling the small objects or unbanded units. The LBR must be capable in size and strength to prevent the load or any part of the load from falling toward the operator. The LBR must not interfere with the operator's visibility and guard openings and must not be larger than 6 inches in one of the 2 dimensions. Part 3, Forklift Safety and Stability Issues. The lift truck is based on the principle of 2 weights balanced in opposite sides of a pivot point. The forward wheels are the fulcrum. This is the same principle used for the teeter-totter. A properly loaded lift truck does not exceed the rated capacity of the truck listed on the truck's data plate. The center of gravity, or CG, of any object is a single point about which the object is balanced in all directions. Every object has a CG. The lift truck has moving parts and therefore has a CG that moves. The CG moves forward and back as the upright is tilted forward and back. And as you can see, the CG will move up and down as the up and down upright moves up and down. When a lift truck picks up a load, the truck and load have a new combined CG. The stability of the lift truck is determined by the location of its CG, or if the truck is loaded, the combined CG. In order for the lift truck to be stable, the CG must stay within the area represented in the triangle. A triangle is drawn between the drive wheels and the pivot of the steering axle. This triangle is routinely called the combined CG. Think of riding a tricycle around corners, and you'll lean forward and you will overturn as you move your CG to the nearest part of the triangle. If the CG moves forward of the drive axle, the truck tends to tip forward, longitudinal. If the CG moves outside the stability triangle, the truck tends to turn on its side, lateral. The gravity of the center of gravity, the stability of the loaded truck, is affected by a number of factors including size, weight, shape, and position of the load. The height to which the load is elevated, the amount of forward or backward tilt, tire pressure, and dynamic forces created when the truck is moving. Those dynamic forces are caused by things like acceleration, braking, operating on uneven surfaces, or on inclines or turning. These factors must be considered when traveling with an unloaded truck as well. An unloaded truck will tip over the side as easy as a loaded truck with its load in a lowered position. A recent test was done at a lift truck manufacturer's technical center involving a 5,000-pound capacity unloaded lift truck. In the test at the test center, the three-stage mast was fully extended and tilted back. One man was able to tip the truck over simply by grabbing and pulling the overhead guard. The distance from the front face of the forks, or the load face of the attachment, to the center of the load is called the load center. The load center is determined by the location of the CG of the load. Most lift trucks are rated at a load center of 24 inches. When the load is carried a greater distance than the load center, the maximum capacity of the truck is exceeded. The use of special attachments instead of forks will also reduce the nominal capacity of the lift trucks. OSHA's Powered Industrial Truck Safety Standard does not specifically require the use of seat belts. However, employers are required to protect workers from serious and recognized hazards. The current version of the ASME B56.1, 1993, does contain provisions for operator restraint use. Furthermore, employers are expected to strictly adhere to the equipment manufacturer's recommendations. Most industrial truck manufacturers recommend the use of operator restraints and install operator restraint systems on new sit-down trucks. Depending upon the manufacturer, operator restraints normally include seat belts and side seat retention devices. If your truck comes equipped with seat restraints, employees must use them when exposed to an overturn hazard or traveling in areas where an operator can be thrown from the operator's compartment. If existing trucks are not equipped with seat restraints, or your employees operate the trucks in areas where overturning or being thrown from the truck is possible, OSHA can cite employers for not requiring or enforcing seat restraint use when operators are exposed to hazardous areas where overturning or being thrown from a truck can occur. In addition to evaluating contributing factors, The compliance officer will evaluate training and supervision to substantiate a citation. OSHA can also cite employers for not taking advantage of approved retrofit kinds if those hazards exist. Competent operators should be able to recognize those hazardous areas or exposures where overturning or being thrown from a truck can exist. Part 4. Forklift Safety Hazards. A summary of OSHA's forklift safety hazards would have the physical hazards as speeding, loading docks, ramps or inclines or other vehicle traffic. Defined traffic lanes or driving surfaces which would be rough or uneven. Tight areas, speed bumps, debris in a roadway, uneven tire pressure, or railroad tracks. Additional safety hazards include potholes, slick surfaces, a CG outside the stability triangle. An unloaded truck is less stable than a properly loaded truck. Part 5. Maintenance issues on forklifts. A summary of forklift maintenance issues includes defective or unadjusted brakes, a damaged mast chain, play in the steering, sparks from an exhaust truck, an inoperable horn, defective controls, a damaged chain anchor pin, worn tires or damaged rims, inoperable gauges, the forklift is not running well or missing, a dislodged defective counterweight, or a damaged overhead guard, LBR. Additional issues include wear defects in the forks or the carriage, cracks or defects in the mast or structure, a missing or non-legible data plate, evidence of leaks such as hydraulics fuel. The forklifts must be inspected at least once a day when used daily before the shift. Additional forklift safety maintenance issues include when used around the clock, they must be inspected after each shift. The best practice would be before the shift and after each shift. Inspections should cover everything from the tips of the forks to the back of the counterweight. Common items to include the brakes, the horns, overall cleanliness, steering, controls, the hoses, the ropes, fittings, power plant, carriage, the forks, the mast chain, and the chain anchor pins. Other maintenance items include the tires and rims, a counterweight, gauges and guarding, data plates, fluids, battery attachments. Replacement parts must be equivalent in safety than those that were used with the original design. ASME B5693 calls for a safety standard for low and high lift trucks, and this industry consensus as a standard is available online. Of course, your operator's manual should have the maintenance and inspection guidelines, and they're often in checklist form. They're also available online at osha.gov at the address provided. Battery charging must be done in a designated area. It must be protected, the charging devices, from damage or collisions, and keep metal tools and objects away from uncovered batteries. You will provide adequate ventilation, use a hoist or other devices when handling batteries, and when charging and fueling, set the brakes. Use a hoist or other device when handling batteries, and when charging or fueling, set the brakes. No open flames, sparks, or electric arcs. And of course, no smoking, and wear your personal protective equipment if needed. In Florida, as well as other states, you must be licensed to make any repairs or modifications in LP-powered truck or LP tank. Never overfill the propane tank, and check with the certification date on the tank periodically to determine compliance. Part 6. Matching the correct forklift with the work environment. Only approved or designated powered industrial trucks can be used in flammable or explosive environments. The complete listing of approved trucks and the certain atmospheres they can be operated in are found in Subpart N 29.178C, specifically Table N1. Okay, as far as selecting the proper forklift for the right work environment, we can see where the D type of forklift is a diesel powered truck having minimum accepted safeguards against fire and explosion hazards. Whereas at the far end of the scale you have the EE, which is the electrically powered truck with safeguards of the ES truck, in addition to electric motors and all other electrical equipment completely enclosed. An ES truck is an electrically powered truck with safeguards to the electrical system to prevent the emission of hazardous sparks and to limit the surface temperatures. An E truck would be simply an electric truck having minimum accepted standards against fire or explosion hazards. Here we can see additional forklift types. The EX, which is the electrically powered truck. It differs from E, ES, and EE trucks in that electric fittings and equipment are so designed and constructed and assembled that the truck may be used in certain atmospheres containing flammable vapors or dust. A gasoline-powered truck will have the minimum accepted safeguards against fire or explosion hazards. A GS truck will have the gas-powered truck with safeguards to the exhaust, the fuel, and electrical systems. An LP truck will have the minimum accepted safeguards against fire explosion hazards. The LPS truck is liquid-powered trucks with safeguards to the exhaust, the fuel, and electric systems. A CNG truck is simply a compressed natural gas-powered truck. Locations where volatile flammable liquids and gases are handled, processes, or used in confined containers or systems, or locations where combustible dusters are easily ignitable fibers and flyings are covered under the safety standard. Part 7. Loading trucks, tank cars, and trailers. Trailer brakes set and wheels chocked. Inspect the trailer floor for weakened sections, holes, rot, slick conditions, etc. The directional lighting also might be needed. Use fixed jack stands to support the trailer when not coupled with the trailer. National consensus standards allow powered industrial trucks equipped with specially designed devices to open and close railroad freight car doors. Part 8. Operator Training Requirements. The first part in properly training an operator is to give them an introduction or overview of the training program, as well as indoctrinating them into the goals of the program about which they are about to undertake. With the trainer's prior knowledge of the types of vehicles used in the workplace and the hazards in the workplace. The course will utilize video, group discussion, and hands-on practice. Each operator must obtain the knowledge and skills needed to do the job safely and correctly. Number 2. Types, features, and physics. Familiarize each operator with the basic types and functions of powered industrial trucks. Develop an understanding of the information shown on the data plate. Understand the critical truck dimensions that affect the safety of the truck. Understand the forces that cause tip-overs and truck design considerations, as well as safety ratings that prevent them, including the stability triangle. Number 3 in training the operator correctly is inspecting the vehicle. Understanding the purpose and importance of pre-operational checkouts, providing a basic understanding of areas covered during pre-operational checkout. Familiarizing each operator with the checklist for pre-operational checkouts, and what to do if a problem is discovered. Gentle folks, driving the truck and understanding the elements of safe movement of an electrically powered truck is important, along with understanding the differences between an automobile and a powered industrial truck. Recognize the safety hazards associated with operating a powered industrial truck. Number 5 is load handling ability. Understand the elements of load lifting safety. Understand the safe operating procedures of raising and lowering a load in the aisles. Understand LPG for lift trucks. Discuss LPG and its properties. Understand the elements and procedures of safely refueling internal combustion vehicles. Number 7, discuss LPG for lift trucks. Describe the tank components and service valve and surge valve and relief valve, as well as safety-related issues. Discuss the battery and the charging procedures. Understand the elements of procedures for safely changing and charging batteries, as well as filling procedures and maintenance. Discuss all safety-related issues. Safety concerns. Review and reinforce the potential for serious injuries, as well as review and reinforce safety procedures for your specific facilities, as well as do the hands-on training for specific workplace situations, reviewing the features of a specific PIT to be operated. Review operating procedures for specific PIT as well as safety concerns. Review the workplace conditions and safety concerns, learning and practicing actual operation of specific PITs and specific workplace conditions while demonstrating a proficiency in performing powered industrial truck duties. Lastly but not least, issue the operator a certificate of completion, good for 4 years. Forklift Safety Summary. Begin by IDing all potential users for operator training. ID all potential workplace hazards. Clearly enunciate company policy for forklift use in the workplace. Obtain a copy of the manufacturer's operating manual. When handling flammables, use NFPA controls. And match the right forklift for the right workplace.